Hey everybody, welcome. This is the Day and Night Podcast, episode 1. I'm your boy Shafiq, also known as Freshman Feek.
My name is Cody.
And here we're going to bring you an everyday podcast, actually every week. And the reason why we wanted to start this podcast is because we've noticed that us millennials, we go through a lot of situations in which we don't have any guidance for or any examples as to how to navigate through things. And we just want to give you guys a perspective, different perspective. Me and Cody, we've known each other for a while. We think a lot the same, but we also have our different perspectives, different walk of life that we grew up in. And we have long, engaging conversations where, we help each other see things from different lights. And I think it'll be very beneficial for you guys to hear our perspectives, chime in on the comments. If you guys disagree, agree, your different perspectives as well.
Yeah, great. Well, let's get started. The first topic we're going to talk about is the coronavirus.
Or we call it the RONA.
The RONA. We've all been through it. We're all going through it.
Yeah.
We'll just talk a little bit about, first we'll kind of talk about, statistics, talk about how, the public and government's reactions, the good outcomes of the virus, and then life after the virus, and kind of like our predictions for the week.
Yeah.
So far, LA County has 43,000.
Well, before we get into the statistics, what is your overall, just not on the actual virus itself, but what do you think about this whole shutdown and like how do you think society is handling this?
I think it was pretty scary in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody kind of, stayed home.
Yeah.
They, didn't want to go outside. It was quarantine. Like
Mm-hmm.
It was like all out war zone.
Yeah.
And then people kind of got over it slowly but surely, week after week.
Mm-hmm.
The stock market took the biggest plunge it's ever had in its entire ever.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2,900 points in
Mm-hmm.
one day. So the world basically was on hold. Everything was shut down. It was just stuck. And then slowly we started figuring out a game plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people are kind of over it now. So even though there's cases going up, I feel like it's affecting mostly the elderly, people with the underlying health conditions.
We're getting new information now, and I feel I totally agree. And I also think in the beginning, because it was it's a brand new virus, we didn't know how it moves around, how it spreads, how it affects people. So I think the reaction from the government, we can get into that too, government response and reaction. I believe the beginning part, when everybody, we were scared. Everybody was scared, and I think the reaction was necessary. If you don't know, it's better safe than sorry. Take precautions. And I think now we can get into the stats as of May 31st today. So we've been in quarantine for a couple months. You can get into the stats. We're just going to go on a LA County level here because we all know the United States deaths have surpassed 100,000 now. I think it's 100,001 and counting. But for LA County, for example, we're going to use a smaller sample size.
Yeah, so
here.
LA County, we have 43,052 confirmed cases and 2,042 deaths. So when you honestly compare that to, there's 10.4 million people in Los Angeles County.
Really? I thought it was 4.
Yeah, no, 10 million.
County, though. We're going by county.
Yeah,
okay,
LA County.
Not just the city. Okay.
So, if you compare, 43,000 cases to 10 million people and 2,000 deaths, the percentage is so low. I think that the people with the underlying health conditions and the elderly, should obviously be careful.
Yeah.
But I think it's affecting us more staying in and being confined, not doing anything, than actually kind of going out and taking precautions.
Yeah, of course.
Fine. Wearing the mask,
washing your hands,
things of that sort. I think are definitely necessary, and I think that that's going to kind of be the change that all of us are going to go through.
Now, let me ask you this: before the quarantine, how long did you wash your hands for?
To be honest, I really didn't wash them at home, but I would wash them for.
Guy response for sure.
I would wash them. I would just kind of rinse them off and do the air dry, so maybe 5 seconds.
Because for one, after you see all the news on how to properly wash your hands, it sounds so remedial. It sounds very remedial, but I could tell you for one, now knowing now, I wasn't washing my hands properly.
Yeah.
Rinse that shit, slap a little soap on it, count to 3, 4, and I'm out the door. You know what I mean? But they say, to be effective on washing your hands, you got to do it for like 20, 25 seconds.
Yeah.
So little things I think will help us in the long term. Just knowing how to keep ourselves clean, cleanliness, the 6 feet of separation. Social distancing, I think that did help a lot in why the cases aren't spreading as vastly as maybe they would have before. And I think what Cody said is correct. Our initial response was good.
How do you think the public and the government, like both, like how do you think they reacted to? How do you think it's gonna be? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Right. So I've shared this thought with a couple people. Some people, I don't know, they think I'm leaning towards the conspiracy side, which I don't think is the case. I think the government took the correct response initially and, shutting cities down, quarantining. But I think sometimes the media can get carried away in promoting the fear aspect of it, right? So in the beginning, I think it was warranted because it's so brand new. Nobody had hard facts because, the data collection wasn't up to par. Now, as we're getting the data in, and I think majority of people are realizing, yes, it is serious to those who have underlying conditions. However, it's not as serious as we initially thought. And I think the media has trouble kind of reeling that in and course correcting themselves and like, okay, now we can reopen, safely with those methods. I think it's hard to admit that the narrative in the beginning was a little overblown. You know what I mean?
I think that, knowledge is power. So I think that they didn't have any knowledge. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
They just knew people were dying from it. So I think now that they're more knowledgeable about it, that now they can take more precautional measures.
Yeah.
I mean, businesses are opening up. So, I mean, things are,
And at the same time, yeah, that's a good point. We have to draw a line as to, yes, we need to protect people from the virus, our elderly, our vulnerable people with
all of them are usually
conditions.
in like nursing homes. So most people are dying in nursing homes.
And that's when that's where the most corona deaths have taken place is in nursing homes. But what I think is that, for everyday life, it's not worth crashing the entire economy to save,
I mean, human lives are important. Sure.
However, yes, the economy every day. Let's take a step back and think about life before the coronavirus, right? We as a society have made the decision that, okay, we're going to put cars on the road and we're going to drive at a certain speed limit, knowing that that's going to result in some deaths, right? We know people are going to get into car accidents driving at 80 miles per hour, right? But we as a society don't say, all right, let's make the speed limit 15 miles per hour because that's going to save a lot of lives, right? I agree that would save a lot of lives. If speed limit is 15, then more people, like even when we do have car accidents, less people are going to die. But we don't take that measure because we know we do that cost benefit analysis for other things in life, not just driving. We do it for the flu. We do it, what I mean? We weren't quarantining before the flu when we know the flu kills a lot of people as well. You know what I mean? So I think we have to make that societal change where we know that we can't be in quarantine forever. The economy has to open back up. Are we going to wait until there's a vaccine? You know what I mean? That could take.
I mean, when do you think things are going to kind of be more normal? I mean, I think it's going to be when the vaccine comes out.
Right.
I mean, they say that's going to be towards the end of the year.
Yeah, that's like hopefully thinking. That's wishful thinking.
Best case scenario.
Because a vaccine has long-term effects. You don't know how somebody who takes a vaccine today, how next summer that vaccine is going to affect them.
I mean, shoot, their hair may fall out.
You know what I mean?
You never know. They may be walking
ears
with a
may
limp,
swell up,
or
you know what I mean?
So
you
the
never know.
Consequences may. I mean, I think it's all desperation too. Like when you're in the hospital on a ventilator, you can't breathe.
Right.
Things of that sort. I think that you're willing to take anything, no matter what the consequences are.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they did take it, and I'm sure they signed their liability waivers.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll kind of see throughout the months of what it is, and they still have to mass produce it also.
Exactly.
But when I was looking at how they handle the H1N1, it lasted a full year, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think it started in March. It's probably going to end in March.
Right.
I think that there's going to be a lot of good things that kind of have come out of it. What do you think? There's going to be a lot of good things?
Definitely. Even on
I know there's been a lot of bad things that have happened. But
exactly.
what are the good things?
Yeah. So even on a personal level, let's get into that. I think we were talking earlier about even though, staying at home all day is difficult. Some people, majority of people don't live in huge mansions where, you know what I mean?
Not like Drake's $150 million
mansion. Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people online, like the celebrities and stuff like that, they're pushing the narrative of like, you just have to stay home, you know what I mean? Quarantine. And it's like,
they got a couple $100 million houses.
Multiple houses. It's a little easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a little tone deaf. The message is correct, but the tone a lot of them were using, which I think a lot of the public was pushing back on, is just the tone that they're using. Some people are cooped up in a 2-bedroom apartment
with like four or five people.
It's not as easy. Those people want to get out a lot.
Same with like family abuse and things of that sort.
Yeah.
Kind of,
has gone up.
For sure.
Divorces have gone up. You know what I mean?
LA always be having divorces.
Bro, that's how you know. That's how you know that, I don't know. I think living with your significant other before you get married is definitely needed, because this quarantine has put couples in such a situation where they're like, yo, I don't know if this is the one.
Yeah. That's definitely true. Definitely true. Well, I mean, what have you gotten out of this? Like, what do you, like, you personally, what do you think has happened that's, how have you been affected and what's been better?
Yeah. So the first week of the quarantine was difficult just because it was a lot of uncertainty. I didn't know what was going on, how long it was going to go for. So mentally it was a little difficult. After the first week, I was able to just settle in. I'm like, okay, we're going to be here for a while. Still working from home. I was able to settle in, and then I started to be proactive with my workouts, find things to do at home, workouts to do at home. I have some resistance bands that I used, went on sprints outside, refreshing air, which is good. Working out outside, I'd highly recommend it. Even when the gyms open back up, highly recommend it. But I also noticed that I paid attention. I had more time to self-reflect and more time to pay attention to my mental health, just anxiety and things like that, when society is back on full swings, a lot of times we don't have time to think about that stuff. We're moving such at a fast pace. You know what I mean? We don't have time to self-reflect, self-analyze, and decompress from the journey of everyday life. Like we move at 100 miles per hour. You know what I mean? We don't even realize it. So I think the shutdown personally has helped me, take back control of the anxiety and things of that nature. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I mean, I think it actually was a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was working, 60 hours a week, and I'm still going to.
Yeah.
But I think that it just made me realize, just spend more time with my family,
right.
Basically play board games, talk with them on the phone, FaceTime, stuff
things
like that.
Things that we take for granted.
Yeah. I mean, obviously social distancing and stuff like that, but being able to spend more time with my family,
right.
Whether it be virtually. But yeah, I mean, spending time with family and just stepping back and trying seeing like what is more important. Is it more the money, or is it more, having a balanced lifestyle?
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, I think it, like you said, it gives me a chance to kind of step back, see what's most important.
And you've been working out more too now.
I'm not gonna lie, your boy's getting big.
Getting a little swole now. Show the guns.
A little while.
It's true, man. It's true.
But that's actually a big thing also,
right.
is like I actually bought a home gym on Amazon Prime member,
Okay, turn up.
Ships pretty overnight.
We'll get into Amazon.
Oh yeah,
in a little bit. Yeah. How their response to the coronavirus is, but continue.
And it came in a couple boxes. It took me around 9.5 hours to put together.
Yeah.
So a lot of dedication for sure.
Do it yourself.
Do it myself.
Yeah.
So I put it together in the back room, and then I ended up working out, and now I've been in an everyday routine.
Yeah.
Wake up, go for a run at the college, which is beautiful that I graduated from. I graduated from California State University of Northridge.
Shout out.
Business marketing.
Let's go.
And which was my most proud accomplishment, by the way. And and then after my run, I go home, I work out my arms, my upper body. I kind of have a routine of what I do.
Yeah.
And it kind of lets me focus and lose that, that gut, sitting down and not being able to exercise.
The beer belly without drinking beer.
Exactly. Right. And then, so I've been able to exercise more, spend time with family. I've been, like you said, be able to self-reflect, do podcasts. And, just a bunch of things in general. Honestly, learn the stock market too. I really was able to kind of take a grasp and invest in the stock market.
Which we'll get into that a little bit later. I think that's what we have on our schedule here. But do you think when the world and the economy gets back to swing, and you say you work 60 hours a week, how do you plan on incorporating the workouts that you do now into your everyday life before this whole Corona thing happened? Do you think that's gonna be easy? You think it, or what do you think?
Yeah, good question. I mean, you always do have to have your options open. Also, like if there is something better out there, take advantage of it. I never had time to look. Now I have time. But I think I'm gonna make it more of a priority. I think before I was taking a priority and go home, relax, watch TV, stuff
mentally
like that.
Decompress from the the heavy work day, right?
And I think I need to kind of relax the work a little bit to not go like 100%, go super hard and just like a million phone calls and stuff like that. I think I need to kind of have a balance and still work hard, but so that way I have enough energy when I get home to basically exercise. But I think what I was doing is when I was going home, I was just cooking dinner right away, which would take another hour or two. So I'm going to have my main course in the middle of the day and then, be able to exercise and stuff at the end.
Right.
And things like that. I've actually, honestly, every day, every week, I've been learning new recipes also.
Okay.
So I've been Chef Cody in the building.
Don't judge me, man. I'm trying to work my way around the kitchen.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I've learned how to cook a little bit better also.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I even bought a new car.
Hey, turn up. Hey, man.
Unemployed, but still buy a car.
It seems like the quarantine has been very, very good for you.
Yeah,
man.
Worked hard. Got my BMW.
Yeah. Turn up.
But I've been working pretty hard for a long time to try and save up for a new car, so I'm really excited.
That's a great point that you make, because I know a lot of people are struggling right now out of work, and that's definitely a reality. Majority of the fact that's a reality, but a lot of people have been able to take advantage of this time, like yourself. You were looking to buy a car even before the coronavirus hit, but I'm noticing that a lot of dealerships, because of the shutdown and people not being able to go out and shop for a car, they're coming out with deals that are like too good to be true.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So for those people who are already planning on making big purchases beforehand, and who have savings and stuff like that, they are capitalizing right now because
basically
of
like
how the
giving
market
and
is.
giving them away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one aspect of.
I mean, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer during the pandemic.
That is for sure. That's
the best way to put it.
And that ties into the government response, where I feel like, which is correct on a health standpoint. They say they want everybody to stay home. All businesses closed unless you're essential. However, the response, the stimulus, $1,200 one-time check, I don't think is sufficient at all. For most families, some people, very slim. Some people are collecting unemployment with the stimulus, the extra $600.
Unemployment is pretty good.
Yeah,
so I think that's
for some
really
people.
helpful.
So some people are,
the extra $600 on top
are putting them a little bit more. Their income is a little bit higher than they would have. Working wise, which is some Congress people in the Senate and House find that to be a problem. But from my perspective, if that's the case, the problem isn't that they're making more money now on unemployment. The problem is, why were they earning so little to begin with, where the unemployment puts you higher than your regular wage? You know what I'm saying? I think that's the bigger problem. But that's another topic we'll get into. But yeah, tying into the government response, the fact that they want us to stay home, we're willing to stay home. However, the government response needs to be a little bit more, geared to the everyday working person, instead of bailing out the big corporations and stuff like that. Airlines, Amazon, big corporations like this, they a lot of times during the
Amazon
year,
went crazy.
It's killing now.
I mean, groceries. I mean,
I don't know how accurate this fact is. It's the specific fact, but I know a certain amount of billionaires in our country. I think the top 5 or top 10 have made more, like billions more during the quarantine than they would have otherwise, which is insane.
It's more of a business type of thing. Like they bought low and they sold high.
So high, yeah.
So I mean, they capitalized on thing, and that's how people get rich, and that's how new businesses start. Is during pandemics. The 07, 08 recession. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I mean, things can only go uphill. I mean, I'm sure there will be a second wave. But I don't.
You think there will be a second wave?
Yeah, I just don't think if it is going to be that bad. I don't think that. I think they may even have a vaccine by then. Yeah,
I mean, the second wave, it's going to be tricky because they say it's going to come during the time. Squirrels are about to mess shit up, man. Look at them. Yeah, we're outdoors right now.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day, social distancing, staying 6 feet apart. And we decided, why not launch the podcast outside? But there's always some things we got to deal with here. But what was I saying? I was talking about the government response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this. Guys, I want you guys to see this. I wish I could turn the camera right now.
Yeah.
We're having a stare down.
There's
with
around
the
like 15 squirrels roaming around us right now.
Stare down with the squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of sales and a lot of businesses have went down and down under, but other businesses like Amazon have shot up.
That's true. That's true.
And I mean, their stock is like doubled, and it's only going to go up. Like the technology industry is going to go up more.
Yeah.
Because people aren't going to want to touch things. So things like, whether it be MasterCard, whether it be PayPal, virtual things like that. It's going to be a lot more virtual instead of like hands-on. So like, not as many people are going to use cash. People are going to this is kind of be the life after the coronavirus.
Transition, post.
More people are going to want to use credit card. It's going to be more touch-free. I feel like airports are going to be more like touchless. It's going to be
just
more
like a point that you just touched on, the stark difference between, and that's why I think the wealth gap is getting wider instead of getting closer. At times where unemployment just surpassed, I think it's
the Great Depression.
It's almost at Great Depression levels. Yet the wealthy are getting wealthier. You know what I mean? The stark difference between that just kind of tells you like where the country is, why there's so much public unrest. You know what I mean? A lot of people are on edge right now
and
unbalanced. You know what I mean? So
no, the middle class are kind of fading.
We're obliterating the middle class, and I think
like an upper middle class or a lower
middle class. There is no standard middle class anymore, and I think the government is going to have to deal with this issue one way or another. Whether the pandemic, I think, just highlighted it more.
Exactly.
But the problem was already it already existed. You know what I mean? So yeah, it'll be interesting. Moving forward the next couple months. I know you like to go out. What is your, side note here, but what is your thoughts on when bars and clubs are going to open?
Oh, man. I feel like people have been, some people are saying, like, they're not going to be packed. No one's going to come back. But I feel like when you don't have something that you've had for so long, you want it.
You're like feeding for it.
You're feeding for it.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to want it. So I feel like a select amount of people are going to go out and go to the bars and the clubs Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think that the more safe people are going to stay home, but I think it's still going to be packed. I think it's still going to be,
too.
But I think they're going to open it up.
We're in the minority too, but like this perspective we have, a lot of people think like even when they open back up, majority of people are going to stay home, and I encourage those who are higher risk,
exactly,
the elderly,
the underlying health condition,
overweight, anything like that. I encourage you, even when things open back up, stay at home. You know what I mean? But we have to also keep in mind other people, the restaurant workers. Restaurants are like a big chunk of our economy, like society even. You know what I mean? Society really
and they can't doesn't
exist. You can't dine in. You know what I mean? So the waiters and stuff like that, people have to continue to make a living. And it's not only that. I think a lot of people are under the assumption of, don't worry, just when things open back up, everybody goes back to work.
Like they said, it's not going to be a light switch.
The businesses still have to pay their leases right now. So being out 2-3 months, they're going out of business. Small businesses right now, like majority, even the stimulus, the payroll protection plan for small businesses, majority of that money went to large businesses.
It's putting a Band-Aid on it. It's not healing it.
But the businesses that really needed it, so a lot of them didn't even get it because it ran out like that. You know what I mean? And McDonald's got, some small business money. I don't know if it was McDonald's, but Ruth's Chris got it. Shake Shack got it. Now, a lot of these companies gave it back, but, under pressure, So the bounce back is going to be harder. It might even be like harder than the actual pandemic,
Yeah, I think it is. But I think a lot of things are going to change. Some for the good, like I said, a lot of touch-free things. There's not going to be as many germs. Obviously,
a lot of new companies, though. A lot of new wealth is going to be created now. People who can be innovative during this time.
Yeah.
This is the time to do it.
It's going to be the tech industry. It's going to be a lot of promotions through the tech industry. A lot of things of that way. So far, nature. Tech is like doubled.
Yeah.
Whether it be in the stock market or just in general.
Yeah.
But it can only get better. There are definitely, the plague of 1918. I was looking at statistics.
Yeah, the Spanish flu, I believe.
Spanish flu. It went really high, where all the cases were really big, and then it went super decreased, and then it was a second wave wasn't as bad, but it was still bad. But yeah, I mean, and then the H1N1. So all these viruses have all had a second wave, but I feel like there's so much protection, and that this is like, it's a little bit different. We have more medical supplies.
It is different, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know how exactly society handled the Spanish flu in 1918. Like, did they do any type of social distancing, you know, things like that?
No, because the thing is that it was in the military. That's predominantly how it was spreading. So they're so close together.
Yeah.
So it was more just they were just dying.
Yeah,
there
bigger numbers of death. Yeah.
Exactly. Eventually they were wearing masks and stuff like that, but I feel like we have more.
We took more precautions. Granted, you know, a lot of people would subscribe to the fact that our government didn't react fast enough, but you know, we did react at some point. We shut down for 2 months. I think that slowed down the spread. And even as we open back up, businesses are still encouraged to practice the social distancing. You know, keeping 6 feet apart with the mask. So I think I don't know necessarily if I agree that a significant second wave will probably come. The flu is going to come, and some people may mistake it.
I think it will be.
Because you can have the flu and feel like you have the coronavirus. You know what I mean? Some people get the flu bad, you know? So.
And I feel like it's going to be like that for a while. Like, oh, I'm sick. Oh, I have the corona. Like, oh,
but it may just be the regular flu.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
The hospitals may be overrun from that aspect. Some people think they have corona. They're going in. They're noticing it's just a flu. You know what I mean? So second wave in terms of hospitalizations, I probably agree. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I think some people are going to be scared to go to a hospital.
Yeah,
you know, like
a lot of people were.
I already know, like some hospitals may even go out of business because they're scared that if they do go to the hospital, they're going to get coronavirus.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be a lot, changing definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a waiting game. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think that people like Zoom or companies like Zoom are going to, increase. I mean, they say like, oh, it's going to go away right after. I think that classrooms are going to be having more Zoom classes.
Yeah.
So that way they're able to, because I mean, it's really hard to get classes, So
that's going to be an interesting point, man, because how do you justify these ridiculously high tuitions if half the time you're going to be having class from your small ass dorm room? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so are they going to have to lower that tuition? You know what I mean? I would, for one, if I was still in school, I would pitch for that. You know what I mean? Like, why am I still paying the same amount of tuition?
I think some of the classes will be via Zoom.
Yeah. For companies though, however, and you bring up a good point, even when the full, after our country gets back to the full swing of things, what percentage of companies do you think are going to be like, look, we were at 95% efficiency rating as, compared to before the coronavirus where everybody's in the office, we were able to keep up production of our duties at 95%, maybe some companies even 100%. Like, no, productivity did not suffer at all because all their duties can be done at work. Those companies, what percentage of those companies are going to be like, okay, when things are open back up, maybe we don't even need an office space. We're going to save money by not having an office space, have all our employees go ahead and work from home. And with that being said, of course, sometimes you'll need to have in-person meetings and stuff like that. But for that, there's companies like WeWork where you can rent an office space for a day, you know what I mean? And just have all your team members come in, for whatever meeting you have. But majority of the work will continue to be done at home. I wonder what percentage of companies will go that route.
Yeah. I mean, I think that things are definitely going to change for sure. But I mean, who knows? I mean, really, it's just unknown, how things are going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel like the president's kind of? What do you think of how that's kind of reacted? I mean, because the U.S. has the most like deaths and most cases out of anywhere in the world by a long shot.
Yeah,
by a long shot.
I definitely.
Do you think that President Trump reacted fast enough? Do you think that he didn't take it serious?
He didn't take it seriously in the beginning, only because I feel like he always views things from a political perspective. So something goes bad, he thinks
the economy and am I going to get reelected?
But he also thinks everything is done to make him look bad. So when people said like, oh, people are going to start getting coronavirus here. Oh, what did he say? He said, oh, it's just a Democratic hoax. The Democrats are pushing this, to make me look bad for responding. But then quickly he realized that wasn't the case.
And he got warned. Like they let him know beforehand.
As early as January, I believe. Yeah. So he didn't respond fast enough. I agree with that. When we did start shutting down, the thing is, nobody really had the answers at that time. Like he should have reacted in January, maybe early February. We didn't shut down until March March 15th, I think.
March 20th.
Yeah, something like that. So with that being said, but even at that point, like, does the whole country shut down? He gave the power to the states, you know what I mean, to reopen or open or shut down certain counties and stuff like that. So I think it was wishy-washy in terms of what is the correct way to handle it. However, as I'm throwing him a little bait, you know what I mean, on that same note, he eliminated the whole pandemic team that the White House had, you know, that the federal government had. As soon as he got in, he got rid of all that
World
staff.
Health Organization.
He
stopped funding to them midway through.
Midway through the coronavirus, but I'm saying in 2016 or 2017, as soon as he got into office, we had an entire department called the pandemic department. He fired everybody in that department. You know what I mean? That would have been able to handle things like that.
That's a big deal.
So certain things like that, you know, he kind of put us, you know, on a step back in terms of responding to this. But now I think we just have to look forward now and see how we can move forward. It's going to be interesting, though, for sure.
It is. I mean, I think what's one thing that you miss the most from this pandemic? Because I know me, I miss sports. I miss live sports,
man,
and I miss I miss
NBA,
going out.
Football. You know? Football's not gonna miss a beat, though.
I mean, they're right now. I mean, obviously they're on lockdown. They're gonna be cutting their pay.
Yeah,
that's what they
said.
The
NBA, you mean, right?
The NBA. Yeah, they're gonna be playing without fans.
I just learned this.
Do you think the intensity will be as intense without
I think
fans?
so. I mean, we go to open gyms. You know what I mean? When things get competitive, especially it's going to be playoffs now. So whether there's fans or not, these players are going to want to win the championship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So their intensity better be up. You know, when I'm in open gym, there's times I take it easy, but as soon as somebody starts talking a little trash, guess what? I'm locked in. You know what I mean? I'm trying to take your heart out. So I think the intensity level is blown out of proportion. Then again, I've never played in front of 18,000 fans, so I don't know the difference between that and playing with no fans. You know, granted, I accept that, but I don't know. I just don't think
playoff atmosphere is
playoff atmosphere. That's very true. Playoff atmosphere with the crowd is totally a step ahead than just a regular season game. But what I learned the other day was that for the players to get their full season money, they have to play 70 games out of 82. The Portland Trailblazers, and I think Damian Lillard was just in the news most recently for saying, you know, if his team doesn't have if they're not giving his team enough games to get into the playoffs, he doesn't want to play because it's pointless. Like, he's going to be putting his family at risk in playing with no chance of getting into the playoffs. But the Portland Trailblazers, as of now, have played 67 games. So it's kind of interesting. Like, do they bring them back for 3 games and then they get their whole season pay? Like, the pay doesn't get rejected due to the the agreement in the CBA. That's going to be interesting, but yeah, I don't think the intensity level is going to be an issue.
Really, I think it's going to be a long time until we see concerts and concerts and stadiums like packed like they were.
I was going through videos on my phone, and
it's going to be a while.
Of the last concert that I was at, I think it was the Drake and Future concert.
Yes, sir.
Was that 2018 or 2019? Last year?
2019.
2019, I think. No, not the Drake and Future. I'm sorry. It was the Drake and Migos.
Oh,
so I think that was the year before.
Drake and Migos, yeah.
I was looking at videos of that, and we were
next to each other,
right on top of each other,
jumping in. I mean, it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while before that happens, even with masks.
As soon as the vaccine comes out, I think it's going to be a little bit more better. I know that's not proper English, but
a little bit more better. Day and night podcast, people,
I think it is. It's going to be a lot different. I think that they're going to take precautions like taking your temperature, like things of that sort,
and stuff like that.
But it's like,
how do you do that too?
Yeah.
Because what happens if somebody has
maybe souvenir night is like 99? A coronavirus
vaccine. but even with that method, because I heard a lot of people bring that up. Okay, we're gonna take temperatures at the door. What if somebody comes in and their temperature is 100 or something like that?
And they're sick, but they still want to see the game.
Or they're not sick with corona. How do you verify that? So do you just not let them into the game because their temperature is that high? Or do you, if their temperature is high enough, you give them a test right away? How do you know?
Yeah, there actually is I think it's like a 5 or 15-minute exam. Actually invested in. It's by Abbott Laboratories, and it's around 15-minute test. So I think that maybe if they do take their temperature,
that test has already been approved.
It's already been approved.
FDA.
They've they've shipped 60 million out, 30 to 60 million test kits already out around the world. So I think that may be something that they may do. But I think that's going to be a while until the stands get packed. But I think that the younger people are are going to go for their hikes, go to the bars, and go to the
course.
clubs. I think it's the elderly people,
Which
the
they
middle-aged
should,
people.
they should stay at home. You know what I mean?
But the middle-aged people are going to be the ones that aren't really going to go, and those are the ones that buy the box tickets, the boxy tickets, buy the expensive tickets,
yeah.
Or just have the suites and stuff like that.
Especially as more data comes in, like you said before, in 2 months or 3 months from now, there's not going to be a question. We're going to have so much data that comes in that'll state, I think, as it's stating now, as preliminary data comes in, the youth 15 to 30 maybe, like the mortality rate is so low for these people. When things open back up, they're going to be out there. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are already upset that they're graduating in 2020. No graduation. You know what I mean? Like the morality of the country, I think, is going to pick back up strongly, and it's going to be driven by the youth. I strongly think that. And, the youth of the country is what pushes the country forward, from an energy standpoint, and I think they're going to be the first ones out there.
I mean, I miss sports the most, to be honest. I mean, I think the most exciting thing that we had was the Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. I mean, that was it.
Man,
and,
you want to get into that?
Oh man, I could talk about that for hours. I mean, I think that when Jordan played, I think that I didn't really know too much about his game because
we're born in 90.
Kobe Bryant was our hero.
Yeah,
I
was born in 92. Kobe all day. I remember though. I have a faint memory of Jordan's. I think his last 2 championships,
but not in his prime.
Not in his prime. The last 2 years that he was on the Bulls, I remember, but I faintly remember. So you're right. I don't remember his dominance. I don't. But I don't know, man. I'm still.
I mean, all I knew was the sneakers. You know? I mean, I have 137, I think, pairs of sneakers.
Humble brag. Talk about it.
Talk about it. And I just knew that they looked good. I knew the history and stuff like that, but I never actually got to see him play. I never saw, the rivalries. I never got to see any of that. So actually being able to see that, I think was pretty special, and have him sit down. I know he's a billionaire. I know all of this stuff about him, but I haven't seen
his actual journey in the NBA.
The journey was really awesome.
So the last documentary was great at portraying exactly how things went. We got to remember though, he greenlit the whole thing. Like he had the last say of everything. So, and a lot of people now, like Isaiah Thomas, Charles Barkley, a lot of people, Scottie Pippen himself, have they're not as particularly happy with how they're portrayed on the documentary because at the end of the day, it's from Jordan's perspective. You know what I mean? So I think as the documentary highlighted how great he was and how dominant he was, I think the narrative of how his leadership style was kind of, packaged in a way.
I didn't realize how significant Pippen was. Like, Pippen was his right-hand man. Like, he wouldn't have won a championship.
So what about the GOAT documentary? Bro, that kind of leaves that for me. If you think about that,
there's gonna be more documentaries after The Last Dance came out.
Of course, but I this is probably a controversial take, but I still got Bron as the GOAT, bro. I still got Bron as the GOAT. Oh, man,
you're killing me here, man.
I still have Bron as the GOAT, bro. The documentary,
he's good, but...
You think Jordan's the GOAT?
Nah, Kobe's got my heart, man. He's got my
emotionally,
heart.
Kobe's my favorite player of all time. Don't get me wrong.
Man.
Kobe's my favorite player of all time.
Once LeBron starts breaking records...
He will though.
Of Kobe and Jordan. Like he's broken some of them,
scoring
but the
record,
rings.
Scoring record.
Once he hits 6 or more rings, he'll be considered the GOAT.
But the thing is, and that's a great point. The thing I don't necessarily subscribe to that is because we see the effect of when LeBron leaves a team. When LeBron left Cleveland, last year he was in Cleveland, that was a 67 game-winning team.
The whole team plummeted.
He left, went to Miami, 16 games.
Yeah.
Right? He left for Miami. They went to the finals, left and went back to Cleveland. Again, barely made the playoffs, I think. When Jordan leaves a team, when he left to go play to go play baseball, the team was another. It was like
they made it to the playoffs.
They made it to the second round both times. They lost in the second round, but they were still a very dominant team. You know what I mean? So I don't know, the effect of LeBron on a basketball team is why I put him at the top. Like he can do a lot. He can do a lot more with a lot less.
With what he has.
What he has, and what he has may be shit, but he'll bring it to a formidable level.
Exactly.
With Jordan, the documentary has shown us that Pippen was almost a second second best player in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he was underpaid,
severely
unbelievably.
underpaid. Some of that was his fault. He signed that long-term deal.
A 7-year deal.
But I don't blame him for doing it. You know, he wanted.
It all depends.
He wanted
situational.
Yes, he wanted to take care of his family. He wanted the guaranteed money. So I understand that, but I think he should have had better foresight in betting on himself. You know?
Exactly.
But yeah, severely underpaid. But he was almost considerably arguably the second best player in the league at the time. Dennis Rodman. You know, we saw how great he was and how tenacious he was. So was that the dynasty? Like, was that the best team ever surrounding Jordan? Maybe even more than the Warriors dynasty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jordan had a lot.
True,
LeBron has never had, besides going to Miami with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, like he's always carried a team, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting debate.
I'm missing sports the most, to be honest, getting excited. But I think also it has been pretty cool to see old games, like, you know, the Game 7s, you know, the Boston's versus Lakers.
Kobe's last game.
You know, Kobe's last game.
Back,
let's see what else. The Cleveland versus Golden State rivalries. Yeah. So being able to see all of those older games and kind of reliving those moments was pretty awesome.
You know what was trash though? What was trash when the NBA, and I'm sorry NBA, but the horse game that they put on, like the virtual Zoom horse game. You saw that on ESPN?
No,
it was like a horse competition.
I didn't see it.
Horrible, bro. Like,
I didn't even see it. Bro. I didn't see it.
That should not happen again.
Oh, yeah.
Just show us old game. We'll stick with the old games.
We'll stick with the old games.
Hardwood classics, you know what I mean?
The hardwood classics are all that 30
we'll
for
stick
30.
To the 30 for 30s as well. Yeah.
Do you know why it's called 30 for 30?
I'm going to say I don't know. Yeah. Why?
Actually, I looked it up, but I forgot.
You forgot? Come on, son.
I think it was like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely miss sports. I think the concerts. I mean, I didn't go to as much concerts, but I mean, Drake. You know, obviously, I would go to his.
Yeah.
I think the large, you know, gatherings. I think those are gonna kind of fade away.
Social connection, bro. We took for granted how much.
We really did take that for granted. We did.
Man, the mental anxiety I had after week 3, after the first month, was like, yo, I need to get out and just interact with people.
With somebody.
When I used to go on walks, like, you know, after I started going out, saying hi to everybody, waving at people, you know, casual conversation with strangers. Like, I think society realized now how much
social interaction is so important.
It's so important, man. It's so important to your mind, to your soul. You know what I mean? All that. Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Definitely. I mean, I think it's gonna only get better from here.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, I think a lot of good did come out of it though. But I mean, we'll see kind of how everything kind of comes out.
Kind of plays out. Yeah. What do we have next here on the schedule?
I think kind of wrap it up.
Where we at?
I mean,
last topic. Let's go ahead and
predictions for the week.
Predictions for the week, but let's go ahead and talk about. I think you mentioned it earlier, about investing during the coronavirus.
Very valid point.
You started investing a lot more now.
I did. I worked my butt off for a long time. I had a lot of money saved up.
Right.
And I put it all in the stock market to, you know, double it. So far, you know, it's been going up. I did my research. I looked what's the best. And I think this literally was the best time you could have invested.
Yes.
This is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
And this is how the rich get richer.
The rich get richer and the
I've
poor
been
get
investing, you know, for a while now.
Yeah, I know you're involved with stocks a lot.
So I knew this opportunity was coming. But the problem was a lot of people, even who I was telling, you know, this is I've recommended a couple stocks to people, but we have to realize a lot of people don't have the capital to even invest.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't have the money. They were waiting on that
They
stimulus
need to
check.
eat.
And they were waiting on, like, some people who were able to survive a little bit, they were waiting for that stimulus check to throw into the stock market.
Yeah.
Some of them, it took so long for them to get it. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely, a lot more people are more cognizant of that. You know, finding different ways to generate income. So that plays a part into how the coronavirus pandemic was a positive for some people, learning different ways to make money, starting new business ventures, investing more.
I mean, Fidelity put a thing out, and I think it was E-Trade or all the, you know, platforms. They said that
they saw a rise, huh?
They saw, I think it was like a 140% rise or something. So I mean, it just
of trading or just
people
opening
accounts and then starting to trade.
Right.
So I think that kind of sparked a lot of why the stock market kept going up a lot. Was a lot more people were trading and things of that sort. So,
I agree.
I think a lot more people are more aware of the stock market and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's definitely
I agree.
a benefit as well. So yeah, I mean prediction for the week. What do you think?
Prediction for the week. It's May 31st right now. We're gonna get into the first week of June. I think a lot more states are gonna start opening up. The numbers. I think Georgia and Texas fully opened up maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. Their numbers of cases are going to start coming out this week. So we're going to see if the opening up, if we see a large spike or if it generally stays the same. I think Florida was the other state there. But yeah, those numbers are going to come in. They're either going to confirm or deny the reopening strategy. So I think that's something to look forward in this coming week. And yeah, I think just more data coming in and more states opening up. I think we're ramping back up here, so okay. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah. I mean, my prediction. I think cases are just going to continue to go up. I think that businesses are going to slowly open up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a light switch. I think it's going to be, like a dimmer effect. But for this week, I think more businesses are going to open up.
Yeah.
I think that they're saying hair salons are going to go out, so everybody's got those long beards.
I'm waiting, man.
I've been able to have.
I
haven't been able. I won't take off my hat, but
looking raggedy. I haven't even got my hair braided.
I haven't been able to get a haircut in a while, so. There's going to be a lot of wigs donated.
Shout out to my barber, Clyde. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming to see you soon. You know what I mean?
So, yeah. So, the barbers, are going to be open up. The nail salons, things like that. The gym, absolutely.
No date set yet, but I'm waiting on it.
Yeah, I know there's been some gyms that have opened up. Really? But it's been like mom and pop, low-key.
Private ones.
Private ones as well. So, I think that for this week and for the next couple weeks, there's going to be more businesses opening up.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to be the stocks are going to go up. Things that it can only go uphill from here.
Yeah.
So I think it's only going to go up.
Yeah.
I think when there is the second wave, which is going to be in a month or two, I think that's when it will kind of go down a little bit. But
yeah,
I think
socially, I think you're right. Things are going to start picking up, but I think economically,
it's going
to take a while for. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to take a while for.
It's going to take a while to go up, but I think it's going to be a slow and gradual process.
In terms of like the small mom and pop stores, a lot of them are closing down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
which
they won't
sad.
Even.
Which is really sad.
Super sad.
They worked so hard and they lost it all in a month.
Yeah. And to no negative doing of their own, like they didn't do anything about. You know what I mean? So I think maybe let's hope for stronger government response and help. It's our tax money to begin with.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So now it's time to give it to the working class. We pay taxes every year in and year out. So I just don't like the narrative that they feel like they're giving us something. Like a lot of senators and congressmen say it's like, we don't want to give handouts and stuff. Like, yo, bro, it's our money. You know what I mean?
I give you 30% of my income
all the time, every single year. So if that's the case, if it's a handout, then let me keep all my money when I earn it. You know what I mean? So
So
if we're gonna bail out the businesses, let's bail out the working class.
Exactly. So I mean, to just kind of summarize the prediction, I think things are going to slowly get better.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a light switch. It's going to be more of a dimming process.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
Next week we'll have a new topic for you.
Yeah.
Drop down some comments below if you like what you see.
Yeah.
Or if drop below down some new topics we can talk about, and we'll pick which topic that we like that you guys posted down below.
Yep.
And always be sure to subscribe.
Click the like button, all that, comments. Remember, we think about y'all when we're doing this podcast. We're doing this for y'all. So yeah, give us that feedback, players.
And we'll put our Instagrams up there too if you want to add us. That's
follow
always
your
good
boy
too.
You did.
All right. Have a good night.
Day and night podcast, baby. Let's go.